Hey, real quick before we get into this video, tomorrow as this video releases on January 13th, we're having our first Fusion World FB08 tournament. We have up to 64 players. We've got 3 boxes across top 8, and it will be on the online client. So check it out if you haven't already, and enjoy the video. Hey everyone, Eggman here with another video, and today we've got a top 32 breakdown for the Japanese finals for the 2025-2026 season of the Fusion World card game. This is also unique because it's the first large event of the FB08 meta, and it's something that's really diverse right now, right? We see so many leaders get into this top 32 here. I also think there are some leaders that I'm surprised that got into the top 32, and some that I'm kind of expecting to get in there that we weren't able to see in this one. So real quick though, before we get started, if you guys are new to the channel, please make sure to hit that like and subscribe. We make a lot of content for the Fusion World card game. I don't want you guys to miss it. Also, if you guys want any of the deck lists that we went over today, you can find them on my website, Eggman Events, which is linked in the description. We also currently do not have all of the deck lists in the top 32. We have about half of them right now. So if we get more and more in the next couple of weeks, if you guys have any, let me know. But otherwise, I'll be continue to update this as we get more data and as we get more events like the one that we're hosting this week as well. So anyways, for this top 32, we got 9 copies of the new red Gohan, with 1 winning the event, 5 copies of the yellow Vegeta, 3 copies of Son Goku Jr., 3 Piccolo superheroes, 3 copies of the Angel Coup Son Goku, 2 giblets, 2 copies of Majin Buu Evil, and then single copies of Caulifla, Gotenks, Cell, Broly BR, as well as Turles. So obviously a lot of leaders that are very viable right now. I am surprised that we didn't see copies of the FB02 Goku, the green Goku. I feel like most people, at least I think it's like a better green aggro deck compared to the giblet, but giblet still is very strong, but I am surprised to not see that one included for it. Also a little bit surprised to not see Sin Shenron for this one. I know it was a very strong deck, at least at the end of the FB07 meta. There are maybe some tougher matchups for it that exist, but I'm surprised to see kind of that little shakeup. And then there are some decks that I'm really surprised to make it into the top 32, specifically Kefla only having 1 copy in the top 32, but it also ended up getting 2nd place. We also had Cell as well as Turles, 2 green decks that I haven't been seeing as much. Even the Broly BR I'd say are kind of like a little bit unusual. I think Piccolo superhero is probably the generic best green deck, but there are a lot of green decks that are around right now, and it's really interesting to see that as well. So we're going to go over the top placing deck list for these leaders as well. We are currently missing as well the giblets, as well as the Majin Buu Evil, as well as the Cell. We do not have the Cell deck list, which I would love to see if that ends up popping up. So we do know that one of the giblets did get 8th place. It was Ryoya here. They just did not publish their deck list. So if that changes, I'll make sure to add it to the page. But we do again have most of the leaders and a good amount of the variety. So if you guys want to check that out, including all of the top 4 as well. So we're gonna go over that, starting off with their first place list, which is the Son Gohan Adolescence. And I think this is like kind of the best deck in the format by default. It's pretty like linear for how the deck building works. You kind of have this big combo that you kind of go off with, and you get a lot of damage you get for it. So if you don't know how the awaken side works, so activate battle your turn once per turn, switch 2 of your battle cards that include Sun in their card names in their battle area duress mode. Your cards that's in a battle gets plus 30k power for the battle. Then if your opponent has 4 more life, deal 1 damage to them. So this effect works when they are at one, you can use your own leader for where you get the boost for, which is really nice. For most decks, you ideally want them to be at 4 life when you use this ability, because you hit them down from 4 to 3, and then you usually get like a really large attack for it as well, right? Best combo is the Son Gohan Adolescence. You get to play the Son Goten and Trunks Youth, which will count as 2 cards if you want to use your leader ability. So that just gets a great plus 3,000, and then also using this ability to give 2 cards minus 5k, which means you can get rid of some like 1-drop 5ks, or make it easier for you to attack into some bodies as well. So I think all that can be really strong for the deck in general. I've been seeing a lot of people playing the 1-drop Son Goku as well. It's not meant for this deck. The only thing that you really care about this card is that it's a 1-drop 10k that is Son Goku. And also I think in some scenarios what you can do is you can play it for 1, you bounce it back to your hand at the end of your turn, and just you have a 1k. It doesn't really matter that it's on the board. It's something that you can just tap for your leader ability and then add it back, which is really nice. So I think this has been an interesting add for the deck in general because of that kind of mentality for it. There is the Son Gohan promo that just came out as well. It's, obviously works with this deck very well, being able to be a self-awakener and being able to get the minus 20k for some removal, and then just kind of the rest of the deck here. So it's interesting to see that this build's not running the God Kamehameha. I know a lot of the Son Gohan Adolescences are playing that, but this was not included for this build. We do have the Son Goku Mini Daima, so discard one card from your hand if your leader is awakened, switch this card to active mode. So this is something that it's a when attacking ability, but you can do something like you can attack with it and then switch it back to active mode, and then you can use your leader ability on it afterwards, right? You only get the plus 30k for the battle, not for the turn. Otherwise, I think that card would be broken, right? Being able to get this to be a 45k twice for a turn is a really good number, but without that, I still think it's a good 10k for the deck otherwise. So obviously, I think this deck is the deck to beat. I don't think it's like, strictly the best deck by a wide margin. It was the most popular leader in the top 32, though. I think it's a deck that a lot of people just find that there's a lot of strength, and it's something that you have to be able to have a game plan against, because it does just have some really great aggression early that's hard to contend with otherwise. So here's the build here for the Son Gohan Adolescence. Next up, we've got the runner-up build, which is Caulifla, which honestly I was not expecting this deck to do well, and I think a lot of people are also in that boat. So to see it get second place in a event this large with this much prestige is really, really interesting. So if you guys don't know how it works, on the front side, it has critical. Your permanent, your turn, this card gets plus 5k, so it's kind of like a Beerus leader, but it's also, it's awaken at 3 or less life, which is kind of nasty that it's that low of a life total, right? Especially with being a crit front side. But you flip it over on the front, on the back side, and then it's draw one, and then activate main once per turn for one, and discarding one card from your hand, which, again, you're not drawing on the front side. This discard one is going to be kind of expensive for a deck like this one. Choose one battle card with Universe 6 into special traits in your battle area and return it to its owner's hand. Then play up to one battle card with a cost less than the card chosen by the skill, different card name, and Universe 6 and its special traits from your hand. So there are some kind of good combos with this, but the issue is that, one, your opponent can stall you at 4 pretty easily. Like, stalling at 5 already hurt, but you can get stalled at 4 pretty easily. And the combos are still like kind of expensive, because you do have to pay the 1 for it. But kind of the generic combo that you want to do with this is that, let's say you have 5 energy. What you can do is you can play this Kale for 4. So play up to one battle card with a cost of 3 or less and tournament power and its special traits from your hand. Then you can't play Kale with a cost of 4 for the turn. And then when attacking your battle card with in your battle area is returned to your owner's hand during this turn, this gets plus 1k power during the battle. So what you want to do off this is generally you play off one of these 3 drops, either the Kaba. So this as well as a hit have this ability is, if your leader is a tournament power and special traits, increase the cost of this card in battle area by 2. But on play, add one card from your life to your hand. Then choose up to one battle card with a cost less than or equal to your opponent's in your opponent's battle area and place it at the bottom of their deck. So you can also just play this card on 3 and have it sit here. I don't think you're going to be awakened by that mark, but this can also be a 3-drop that you can change into a 4-drop, which is kind of nice. The hit's kind of the same thing, but the draw one, discard on play, and just a 20k, 10k. But let's say we're on 5. You can use this, play this out, use the ability of the Kaba to return this to play out this Caulifla here, which is a 3-drop, which also helps you awaken in the early game, right? And then you get to get the ability of the Kale to get the plus here, so it's attacking for 35k. You attack a 20k with this Caulifla, and then activate main, place one Kale, the cost of 4 from this from your battle area to the owner's drop. If your leader is Caulifla, play up to one Kefla with a cost of 5 from your drop. So and this card, so this card goes away, and so you get to play this Caulifla or Kefla here. So it's the 5-drop here, it's a double strike, and then add one blue card with a cost of 4 less from your drop to your hand, so you can do the combo again next turn. Then if you have one or one battle card in your battle area, so literally only this card gets plus 15k power for the battle. So it's a 50k double strike for free, and it's a 60k double strike for free because you can just add a 10k from your drop essentially. So it's a really good finisher in that sense, but like, as you can tell, there's just a lot of like different combo lines. You can definitely be in a spot where you're not drawing as many cards as you want to, because you're a 20k crit on the front side, and if you don't awaken down from 4 to 3, there can be times where you're just kind of stuck, especially since like you have to spend an energy for the activate main for this ability. It can be kind of tough to get that consistently in those situations. But we do have like a lot of great cards. We do have like a Searcher, we do have like the Renzo, which is a draw one. We have the Kale, which is like a plus 10k as long as you boost something with a if you bounce something in your hand this turn. We have the 4-drop Kale for 40k that when attacking at the opponent, you bottom deck at the end. So there are some times where you can play this, you bounce it back with your leader effect to play something like the Kaba are like the Caulifla or the hit, so you don't have to like lose out on this card as well. And then we do have like the Champa Booing, so you get to look top 3 for Universe 6 card, which means that our super combo has to be the Universe 6. But I think like it's not like outrageous to say that this deck can do well, but I also think that's a deck that just gets a lot of advantage from your opponent kind of not knowing what what it happens. Like the turn that you go off, you can have an empty board though, and you can have like 5 pretty strong attacks that exist. So I think that can be a really good part for this deck, but it's really hard to justify a crit leader, especially a crit leader that wakens at 3. So I think that's really cool. I'm going to have to do some more testing on my own side to see how this deck works and if there's something that kind of clicks that I haven't really seen before. But I think that this is also just like a really good finish, and it's really cool to see that Caulifla, which I think most people were saying was not going to top an event this format, get second place at a really prestigious event like this. So here's the build there. All right, next up we've got Vegeta here, and I think most people are in comparison, right? This is a deck that a lot of people were expecting to see pretty often. It's like the second most played leader in the top 32 here, and it just has like such a good, I would say, like legacy event because it's just so good in so many situations. Just untapping 2 energy at the end of your turn is fantastic, right? It was only bad in like the previous metas because the 4-drop Boo was more present. It's still around in some places because we still see the Majin Boos, but it still was able to do well in that format despite like not having a leader effect, which is kind of crazy in that sense. But I think Vegeta also is just kind of like a very blanket like yellow deck in the fact that there are just a lot of different ways for you to build this deck right now and get success. We got some new support cards, mostly like this 1-drop Whis, which is just if your leader's Vegeta, add to 1 yellow extra card through it last from your drop to your hand, which is all the good yellow cards that we want, specifically Results of Training. It's also a 10k for some reason, even though it draws a card. So that's kind of great. We've got our 1-drop 10ks with the Frieza, Majin Boos to get the rest. We got our draws. We have the Bibbidi and Boo combo here, especially with the Majin Buu Evil, which we can get some more hand destruction. And then our top end is the 4-drop Frieza, Son Goku, Vegeta, as well as the Chilai BR. So we're not actually even finding that much top end. We're just kind of getting a lot of recursion, getting a lot of like bullying down at your opponent. We do have like the Blue Power Awakening, which can be very good against the Son Goku Jr. since all of their cards turn into 6 cost with the leader effect, which is great. So all the 5 drops become 6 drops. And then also there is the 1 copy of And Don't Dream of Resurrecting Again. So prevents 5 or more for attacking for the turn. So again, there are like any deck that has like 5 drops can help that. I don't think there's that many, so I'm not surprised to see it only having the 1 copy here, but it's a really interesting build, especially since we're not playing stuff like how Rakshasas, we're not playing any of the 6-drop like big boys. We're just finding like more consistency from like just having our barrier cards from the Majin Boos and the Friezas to get like the advantage, and then if there are anything that Frieza can't hit, Blue Power Awakening usually hits it. So unless they're playing like specifically like really good 5 costs that stay 5 costs, this deck gets like a lot of good variation, I think, in those scenarios there. So it's really cool to see this deck still do well. Here's the build here. I don't really have much more to say, right? Yellow Vegeta's been, I think, pretty much viable, especially like once this card came out from starter deck 8, this deck I think was just viable by default moving forward, and I don't think that's really changed. So it's cool to see this build for, and congratulations to our Vegeta player here. All right, next up we got Piccolo Superhero, and Piccolo's I think it was generically the best green deck for this event in general. There were 3 in the top 32, and it is like something that was doing very well in the FB07. There wasn't really anything yet to change going in FB08, but there have been like some minor changes here and there for just what the tweaking has to do. So I have 2 of the 3 that got into the top 32. Pretty much the same. This build just has 1 copy of Bulma and 1 copy of Master Roshi. The other build just has 2 Bulmas, so pretty similar in that case. But we are still just like a really good generic ramp deck. The 8-drop Son Gohan Superhero is just a generically good card that just gets a lot of advantage. That if you can just keep playing it back to back and have like the energy open for defense and getting some more card draw, there's like nothing that you just kind of get so much value, and it's hard for your opponent to really keep up if you get to the late game and able to ramp successfully. So we've got our ramp cards of Gamma 2, we've got the Son Gohan, we also do have the Trunks Future, which is a really interesting card for the deck too. So this card can attack your opponent's leader, but I know a lot of people are playing this card strictly because it's a great way to just be like a 2-drop 25k to bully your opponent's board. It gives them something to try to attack into that's not your leader, and worst case it's a 10k, so it's a cool little optimization that I've been seeing a lot of people kind of subscribe to. We have the single copy of unlockability, so if we go down to 1, we can use activate main to go up to 3 life again and get the plus 15k, which means also you can use it after playing the Son Gohan Superhero, so that's like a good way. And then obviously I still think the Son Goku double striker is like one of the best finishers in the game. It's just so good, especially with green being able to have like so many different value cards, even though we're not playing any of the cells or Earth Destroying Kamehamehas are the, or sorry, Earth Destroying Blow are the instant Kamehameha. It's even without that, like we just get so much advantage from like these 2 drops that 10Ks that like add more 10Ks to our hand, right? It's just really good value there. So I don't have much more to say. I think Piccolo Superheroes is a solid choice for this meta if you enjoy playing the deck, and here is the build there. All right, next up we got the Son Goku Jr., and I've really fallen in love with this deck. When we first saw it at the beginning of the meta, I wasn't like a big super big fan of it, because I felt like, I think the effects are a little bit too clunky. It's not too easy to do, but we also just kind of have like 2 different builds for it, which I don't think I pulled up the other one, but there's kind of 2 standard builds. So we've got Late's build here, which I would say is like the more standard build for it, right? We do just have like the general Son Goku or Goku's lineage stuff, right? And the rest of the deck for it. So I think that's like kind of a standard build with it. I know like a lot of people are playing the Soul Punisher, but like playing the 4-drop to be able to go into one of your 5-drops like the Son Gohan Childhood and get that double strike, I think that's very good. I think the Bardock is also like one of the best cards that Black has gotten in a long time. Like just this is like generically one of the strongest cards in the game that you're able to play very easily, especially in this deck, but a lot of other decks get to kind of take advantage of it. But this build, I'd say that from Kyon is really, really unique in a lot of ways, and mostly because it's not like the same kind of like turbo 4-drop into 5-drop. This is like a really big kind of like almost like mid-control version of the deck in general. So kind of again, like the backside of this deck is pretty easy. If you increase the cost of all your Goku lineage cards and your special traits in your battle area by 1, right? So you increase it by 1, you get to draw a card, right? That means that there are cards, so for example, with this Bardock, if you have a card with a cost of 3 or more in Goku's lineage of Bardock's crew, and your special traits in your battle area reduce the cost of the card in your hand by 2. So that means that you can have like the Son Gohan Youth, and then if it stays on the board on the next turn and you're awakened, you can make this you can play this on 3 kind of thing. But that's not like the only way to be able to do that. And this deck it looks like it's really trying to like slow roll value. You're not trying to like awaken as soon as possible, and you're just trying to get to the late game really consistently. So we got stuff like the Son Goten. So when this card's doing a combo from your battle area, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, cost of 4 or less, and return it to their hand. So the removal aspect from that is great. I know some people have been trying to play like the 4-drop baby in a deck like this one too, to be able to get like the more removal of the 3 costs, especially like you can play Son Goten GT, get rid of a 3 cost and a 4 cost, which is really nice. We got the Glorio Daima as well. So if we're going first, this card is really good to play on our second turn to get the draw, and then the top end. So we do also have like this Son Goku GT, which especially if we're going first, this is like one of my favorite cards to play. We've got the Bardock, we've got the 5-drop Bardock as well, just being able to get the the double strike as well as the removal, and then the 6-drop Gogeta, which there's a lot of decks that just still fall to how good this card is. So it's really cool to see this build, because this kind of just honestly looks like a Gogeta defensive deck, or like kind of what the previous builds of like Black have been generically, and we're just kind of making some changes for like the Son Goku Jr. part of it, which again seems really, really interesting from like a part from this one. So not much more to say though. I think this is a really cool build. I really do enjoy Son Goku Jr. as a deck in this meta too, and it's cool to see like the different builds for it. So there it is. All right, next up we've got Turles, and I did not expect this deck to do well. I think like Caulifla I didn't, or Caulifla I did not, Turles I also did not, and to see both of them in the top 32 is really interesting. So it's just a really basic effect for the fact that, so 1 attack and draw 1, 4 or less awaken, and then if you have 5 or less energy once per turn, you can use 1 Fruit of the Tree of Might without paying its cost. So what that is, if you don't know, is the Fruit of the Tree of the Might. So it's a 3 cost, but activate battle, your card that's in battle gets plus 15k power for the battle. Then if your leader is a Turles and you have 5 or less energy, you get to add this card from your drop to your energy in rest mode. So being able to just kind of get like some ramp. So on 3, what you're supposed to do is you attack with this, become a 30k, get this into the ramp area. So that's pretty good. We also do have like the Tree of Might here, and so also the fact that it goes in there is really nice. We got the Tree of Might, which is a field, switches card in a battle area to rest mode. If your leader is Turles, add 1 card from add up to 1 Fruit of the Tree of Might from your energy to your hand. So being able to add that is nice. We got the Kill Driver. If your leader is Turles and you have a Fruit of the Tree of Might in your energy, choose it to 1 energy, 1 battle card cost of 5 or less in your opponent's battle area and KO it. Which I believe, if I remember right, the player of this deck was like, this deck is really good until you're playing against Goku Jr., because we have no ways to get rid of 6 cost, only 5 costs or less. So that can be a little bit tricky for the deck in general. But other than that, we do just have like all these generally good green cards. We still have Son Goku Jr. because this card's great. We have instant Kamehameha because sometimes we need to get less cards in our energy to be able to put the Fruit of the Tree of Might Might back in there. We've got our 5 drops. We get the Turles as well, which is a Turles Crusher Corpse card, but it's a crit, and then add 1 card that costs 3 or more from your drop to your energy. So this can be a way to add the Fruit of the Tree of Might to your energy if you need to, for whatever reason. And then also, like, yeah, being able to get this from your energy to your hand means you have like this kind of loop combo with it, which is really neat. So other than that, we have the Son Gohan Youth, who only looks for greatest showdown cards, which does not include the Turles, but does include the Piccolo. We do have the 2 drops, so add 1 card from your life to your hand. Look at the top 10 for a Tree of Might and add it to your hand, so being able to fund the field. We got the Raisin, and if your leader's Turles and you have a Fruit Tree of Might in your energy, you get to draw 2, discard 1, and it's a blocker. We have the 3 drop Son Gohan Youth for some removal and on play, and then we also have the Activate Main, play this card in your battle area, zone, drop your leader's Turles, and you have a Fruit of the Tree of Might. You can play 1 Turles with a cost of 5 from your hand in rest mode. So another way to be able to play out this 5 drop here, get the crit on the next turn, but also get the ramp too, which is really nice. So other than that, like, this deck is really interesting. I also do like the addition of the Goku Black too. So just being able to go from 5 down to 3, you can then use like a Fruit of the Tree of Might to go from 3 to 4, and then you get to kind of use the effects otherwise. So this like is a really good thing. The fact that it's also crit means you have a lot of crit pressure from this deck, and it's a really unique build that I obviously have not played a single day of. So I'm going to definitely have to do some testing with this one. It's cool to see Turles do well in an event of this caliber, and here is the build there. So we got 3 more decks we're going to go over. We've got Maru's build of Gotenks, and this one's Gotenks I think has been on the rise, at least on like the online client in the last little bit. I think mostly because of the Mighty Mask promo. That's obviously a lot easier to get on the online client compared to in person at times, but this being able to just kind of make your consistency with your 2 drops really important. If you guys don't know how this deck works, so it's on the front side it's pretty standard, but on the back side, when attacking, draw 1, then activate main once per turn. During this turn, if you use an extra with an original cost of 3 and both Saiyan and Earthling into special traits, this card's plus 15k power for the turn. We do have these 3 cost extras that essentially cost 1 as long as you have a Gotenks in your with a cost of 4 or more in your battle area. So this one being able to discard 1, choose all battle cards, cost 3 or less in your opponent's battle area, place them at the bottom of the deck in the random order is really good, especially against the red Gohan. We've got the Ultra Boo Boo Volleyball as well, same permanent, but activate main, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle area with a cost less than or equal to the total cost of battle cards in your battle area, and place at the bottom of your owner's deck. Which, when we have so many ways to kind of cheat out like extra costed cards in the decks, like, it's really easy for this to remove like 4 costs, 5 costs, 6 costs even. Like, it's very easy for this card to like just remove any card in the game, which is insane for this kind of consistency. So the 2 drop boys though, so you play one of these for 1, and then the other one you get to play for 1 as well, and then afterwards you're able to pay the 3rd one to be able to play a 4 drop from your hand. So Gotenks from Star Deck 2 is just a good example. You get to draw 2 if you have 7 or fewer in your hand, which like will happen. The new Gotenks from FB02, so during this turn if you use an extra with the original cost of 3 or more in both Saiyan and Earthling, you get to draw 2 cards. And then also the Gotenks, so if your leader is Gotenks, play up to 1 Son Gohan Adolescence, or up to 1 Piccolo, both the cost of 2 or less from your hand, and then add it to 1 card from your life when attacking. So I think you generally want to play this one on the turn 3, and then that means you get to get the pieces back, and then the next turn you get to play the Gotenks on for 4. So you 1, 2, 3, and then you get to spend the extra energy for like one of the extra cards that you need. So that kind of recursion I think is really great, being able to get out these bodies, being able to have like a lot of defensive things. You see a lot of 10Ks for the deck. We have the 1 drop Piccolo, which just is some decks like have a really hard time getting rid of this, especially red. So being able to have like this 1 drop blocker with 35k base is really nice. We have the 1 drop Piccolo here for the Searcher as well. We have the 4 drop Son Gohan Adolescence too, so if your leader has both Saiyan and Earthling as special traits, you get to play this by 2. You have a Gotenks, you get to play it for 2, and then during the turn next time you use an extra card, reduce it by 1 blue, which means that you can play one of these for free as long as you meet the conditions for it. So like on the turn 4 you can play well, this has to be reduced by 2, but so if like one of these Gotenks survive, on the next turn you can just play this Son Gohan and kind of get the additional effects from there too, which is really nice. So other than that, like, I think this deck is really cool. It's a cool blue deck that I'm happy to get, it's getting support and doing well. And here is the build there. All right, next up we got the old reliable Son Goku. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, right? This is a deck that like lost Pilaf and then kind of just fell off the earth a little bit, right? But from my experience at like literally being in Japan last year, and being in the meta where this one was a little bit more popular, people really do like playing this deck. This is like one of their favorite decks to play out there. So I definitely think it's definitely more of an edge of like people who play in Japan just love how this deck worked. I personally do not like how this deck works, so I'm biased on that, and I'll admit to that fully. But it's really cool to see that people still are able to find success with it. There weren't really any new cards that were added for it. It just has like the good consistency of like knowing how the deck works. The only new card that people added was the 5-drop Kefla, just being able to be like a really good way to get the plus 15k. There could be also some chances for you, like, you just dump your board if you need to. And make this like, in fact, like this is a 45k double strike very easily, even without like the extra plus 15k. If your board's empty, which likely will never be empty with the Saiyan City stuff, you are able to just get like a 45 double strike generically in this deck, which is really nice. So I don't have a lot to say about this. It's I hope this doesn't get popular on the online client, because my least favorite thing is playing against this on the online client. Any game with this is like 40 minutes because of all the interactions and all the effects they get to do, which is, I don't think is like broken, but man, it just takes so much time. And I just have better things to do, I feel like, most of the time than seeing my opponent play all their Saiyan City stuff as well. But not much more to say. I think it's still an accomplishment to get a top 32 with this, and congratulations to our Son Goku players. And then to wrap it up, we do have the Broly BR. So this is a deck that came out in FB06. A lot of people were, this is kind of like a bit of a gatekeeper, I think, in that meta. It's a very scary deck in the sense that you get to play out some really big bodies. You have to play around what Broly's wanting to do, and if you don't have a way to interact with their 8 drops and 9 drops, this deck is very, very scary. So it self-awakens on the front side. On the back side, you're able to make a 4 cost into a 7 cost into an 8 cost, essentially. So we do have a new card with FB07 that came out. So being able to make this a 7 drop by itself, and then also if you don't have another Broly beyond your battle area, you get to switch this card in a battle area to active mode. So you get to attack with this 25k twice, and then you get to use your leader ability to make it into an 8 cost, which means you get to play out the 8 drop Broly BR, or the Star Deck Broly BR, and then we also do have the 9 drop, which I think 2 copies makes sense. I know a lot of people aren't playing the full copies of it. It is really interesting to see no copies of Planet Vampa, which generally I'd say is like the strongest card for this deck, because that card draw really gets a lot of value throughout the game. But it is interesting to not see it. We do have the Shuddering Roar, so being able to choose a battle card, cost 2 or less in your opponent's battle area, and KO it. So really good on our even curves. If we're not playing in something aggressive, I think Nappa can be great from help us go from 3 to 4 immediately, especially if we're going second. Turning your energy marker into a real energy is really helpful to be able to get your effects off, and then you kind of go off from there. So we do also have the 2-drop Chilai that came out in 7. We have the Beats here, which I haven't seen really people play this as much, but being a blocker, that's a 2-drop that also lets you help self-awaken is good. But yeah, being able to play this, if you have 4 energy, play up to 1 Broly BR, the cost of 4 from your hand. So being able to have like that 2 extra energy means you can have something like Beats open, or you can have like the Shuddering Roar being played. So it makes sense in that sense, like why those cards are kind of added for the deck as well. So I don't have much more to say. It's cool to see Broly here, and that is the build there. And that's going to be it for this one. Again, I don't have all the deck lists. I would really like to see what the Cell list as well as the Giblet decks looks like. I can kind of understand like how the Majin Buu evil deck list look like. So maybe that's like the 3rd priority for me. But it's cool to see like this meta being so open and have so much variety. And we'll have to see kind of how it devolves from here as well. So that's going to be it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you all next time.